I got to say a big shout out to my guy, Tony Polcari. You know him as Tony P in DC. Tony, what is up, my man?
What is going on, Austin? Thank you so much for having me. You have no idea how great this is to be with you, and I've always loved your content as a broadcaster and anchor. You're awesome, man. I'm just so honored to be here and chat about life and vibes as well, and kind of the path that I've been on for the last 4 or 5 months.
Love it, man. Well, let's get vibing, huh? All right. So,
Let's do it.
I've been following you for like 6, 8 months, something like that. And every video
Wow.
you talk about, you say a week in my life as a 25-year-old bachelor in DC. When do you turn 26? I feel like you have been 25 for like 2 years.
It's so funny. I've been getting a ton of comments on this too. Actually, tomorrow is my half birthday. So
Oh, no
I'll
way.
be 25 and a half. So I'm thinking about doing something that makes fun of that and maybe actually continuing it for the next 6 months just to give people a different flavor. But yes, I turned 25 in September. So I've only been about 6 months.
Dude, what's
And
your
it's funny.
birthday? I'm a September baby as well.
Oh, no kidding. Oh,
Yeah.
so I am on 9/8/98. So I've always had that
Yeah.
as a kind of a unique birthday, and it's actually the year. I'm a big sports fan,
Yeah.
and it's actually the night that Mark McGuire broke the home run record in the '98 chase,
Yeah.
and he hit it right at Busch Stadium. I remember going back. For the first time I went to St. Louis and I saw the stadium, like, oh, that's where he hit it. And I've always been associated in my head with the Mark McGuire that season and the record-breaking home runs. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So, like, I'm 2 days away. I'm September 10th. I'm a little older than you,
Oh,
though.
wow.
Yeah, I remember watching that and like being that's like one of my first sports summers memories because I'm a Chicago kid and moved to Cleveland a
Right.
few years ago. But regardless, I was like idolized Sammy Sosa and like loved that season. I remember watching that. It was unbelievable. So a great sports memory. I could tell you from
Thank you.
someone who lived it. I feel like I'm now getting to the age where people who are social media influencers, and they are a little bit younger than me. I'm a little older, so now I feel like the old guy, being like, I lived it, man. I've lived this whole life, this whole thing. So, but yeah, a great sports memory. But dude, you have
Thank you.
just exploded online, and you just have such a captivating feel, and you definitely captivated audiences. I mean, what is this past year or two where you've really kind of, especially over the past 6 months, I feel like you've really exploded on social media. Well, I mean, when the Washington Post is doing stories about you, that's how you know you've made it big. And also when WKYC in Cleveland is doing stories, that's how you know you've really made it big, my
Yes.
friend.
No, thank you. No, and it's funny. I'm a big fan of Cleveland. I've been there a couple times. My dad used to do business out in Cleveland,
Yeah.
so absolutely love the city and the whole. Again, very great sports vibe, very similar to Boston and how we just love our teams and the entire camaraderie around it. And I'll tell you, the last 6 months, and again, I last 5 months or so is when I really started to grow. It's been incredible. I can't believe the outpouring of support. I'm so grateful that people are supporting me, the comments, the likes, and then also here in DC and New York as well. That's my second market. People are coming up to me and saying how much I mean to them, and the positive masculinity and just the positive vibes in general. People really are really kind of latching onto it, and that just means the world to me because for me the goal is to create an environment where people can feel they can be authentic and they can embrace positivity and really just love the little things in life, like watching TV at night or going out to a bar with work friends. Those little things that we sometimes don't take stock of. I'm just honored people are starting to embrace that and embrace my message, and it's an honor. Every bit of it has just been so surprising and shocking because I thought maybe I get between 5 and 10,000, if that.
Sure.
The goal was just to have some fun, be a little creative. I was a broadcaster in high school and college, and I always wanted to get back in front of the camera and just exercise the creative muscle. And the fact that this is grown to almost 200,000 followers and counting, that's just incredible to me, and I'm just so surprised, but I'm honored by the support that people are giving me because it's not easy. There's a lot of influencers out there, a lot of different pages you can watch on social media, and they're giving me that time, and that just means the world to me.
Yeah, I mean, it is really hard, but it's also just like the power of social media today. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, the only way to be a influencer would be to be a broadcaster, a writer, and now you literally hold the power to do that right in your phone. It's unbelievable. And what's great about your content too, and what's one of my favorite shows is The Office. I mean, I've watched it a
Oh
million
yeah.
times. I love it. And when I was kind of thinking about our interview and your content, you're not doing the Mr. Beast stuff. You're not like giving away cars. You're not giving away $1 million. You're also not being a jerk. You're not pulling pranks on people. It's literally just the positivity of what you're talking about, but then also just like the mundane of life that you're putting on display. And I think a lot of people are connecting to that. And I think of the line from The Office is there's beauty in ordinary things. Isn't that kind of the point? And I feel like that's kind of become, not to say you're just ordinary, but you're putting your content out of just like a day in my life, a day in the weekend, you're golfing. Why do you think people have really connected with that and connected with you?
Mm. That's a really great question, and I appreciate the kind words. I think again, you talk about it, the ordinary parts of life, and we're always running around, and everything is fast paced now, and the world of social media is so influenced, to use that word, by keeping up with the Joneses and the hot takes and all these things that are really controversial in many ways. Where an ordinary day in the life and just connecting with friends and doing those really important things that can really spur connection among friends and colleagues, and really just enjoying the granular moments of life and what people are enjoying right now. I mean, as you see, also another trend on social media is this whole nostalgia trend where these accounts are talking about like a point of view, you're a 2000s kid going to school, right? And people just love that type of content because people are looking for a refuge right now away from the controversy and the hot take. They just want a place to really just relax and almost be authentic a little bit. And our day-to-day lives are authentic lives, so I think
Yeah.
that's something that people are really appreciating. They're going, hey, I'm doing the same thing. I'm hanging out with my friends on a Friday night, or I'm going golfing on Sunday, or I'm during the week I'm working and getting out at 6:30 and I'm going to do trivia. And documenting that, not only is my goal just to say, hey, this is my ordinary life, I'm just like anybody else, but also things like connection and friendships, those things we've sort of lost since the pandemic. It was so
Yeah.
tough with all that going on, that we forgot how to do that. And I think a lot of people are responding to those things as well. I've had a few people that come up to me sometimes and will say, you inspired me to get back out and date again, or also meet some new friends and join a book club or a running club. And those things are just really important to me, as well as getting out there and connecting in real life, if you are in the wild, as they say.
Sure. And I think it's just a very refreshing look and kind of a down to earth view of what you approach of, 25 is a hard age. When I was 25, I'm not too far removed. I'm 31, but 6 years ago, it's a pivotal moment and point in a lot of people's careers. I was very safe. I was living in Rockford, Illinois. I was, around my parents. I was with all my buddies from high school. My buddies from
Mm,
college were just a quick drive away. And then I got a job in Cleveland. I was all alone. I didn't know anyone. And I think a lot of 25-year-olds are experiencing that what they call a quarter life crisis, and that
mm.
continues into your 30s or whatever it might be. But then I also think it was amplified for 25-year-olds right now of having to deal with the pandemic, that isolation. And when you see it on social media, you're always kind of looking there being like a little screen envy of, man, I wish I was out doing that. Why am I not out doing that? But I think you are a good reminder for, a lot of people, young people, of that, it's fine to just chill or to just have people over, and that friendly reminder that life can be boring and there's good things that happen to be in boring, but also thriving in your career. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, 100%. And it's real, right? And a
Yeah.
lot of the things you see on social media are not real. And it's very much a front of what my life is supposed to be. And then people are like, well, I need to try to do that. So they get very they get into a spiral like, oh my god, why am I not doing this? And that's why we have a lot of mental health issues when it comes to social media. And one of my biggest passions is mental health, especially for
Hmm.
people in my age group, because you're right there. It's a lot of transition happening, when you're 25, 26. You kind of had a career for a few years. You're figuring out, do I want to do this path? Do I want to make a change? I want to go back to school. And it's a lot of angst in trying to figure out what your path is, not just from a career perspective, but who you're meeting. Are you going to get married soon? Are you going to have a family? All these questions become a lot closer to you because, especially when you're 25, 26, you're approaching 30. That's usually a marker to say, hey, you're going to build a family soon and try to, go into that next phase of your life. It's a lot for people.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I just want people to know that I'm struggling right there with you, and it is those little things, watching Law and Order, or on TV at night, or going golfing, or just cleaning the house, or cooking. Those little things can really center you and get things back to, a decent place.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about the vibrant masculinity and a little bit more about your brand, but I want to
Of
know
course.
what was the first post or the kind of the first moment where you're like, yeah, this is like a thing. Like Tony P in DC is a real thing, and we're like, we're getting there. I can kind of elevate my brand a little bit more.
Yeah, so I think it was July 18th or 19th, and I had done a week in my
I like that
life
you know
post.
this the specific brand. That's great.
Right.
Or
Yeah,
date.
yeah, no, I've been asked this question a decent amount. I want to make sure I have it accurate, and I say it correctly. And what happened was I was, this has been a couple months I was doing content, and I've been doing all these things, and I've been getting, 40, 50 likes, and well, mostly my family's commenting, and I'm thinking, what, just keep going, just keep posting. I'm enjoying it. So, and I'm fine with this. And then remember, posting the week in my life video, and I posted around noontime because I had the app later that just posts it when I want it to go out. And I was at work, and then when I got out at like 5, 6 o'clock, I looked and I saw 50,000 views. I'm like, whoa, this thing's starting to
Yeah.
to grow. I couldn't believe it. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. So seeing that and watching it, I'm like, oh my goodness. So, and then that was the first one, and I just said, yep, just keep going. And I really, I wasn't like, oh my god, I have to change my strategy. I just kept posting, and kept doing it twice a day at that point,
Hmm.
and just kept moving with it. And then it started to grow exponentially. And then once we headed into the middle of August, that's when we got 200,000, 300,000. Then we got to, six, 800,000
Yeah.
a post in terms of the views, and then, 5, 10,000 likes a pop. And then that was when the Washington Post came calling right around my birthday in 2023
Yeah.
September. And it all just kind of took off from there. And I didn't change anything. It just that's when things started to hit, and like consistency, and people enjoyed the wholesome content, I guess. Or as I like to say it, I'm kind of like a 45-year-old trapped in this body, if not older.
Yeah.
So I think people enjoy that as well, like the old soul mantra.
I saw on the Washington Post is that you were singing like the Mister Rogers, like humming the Mister Rogers theme song while you were like doing something.
Yes.
You are like a 25-year-old Mister Rogers. You're just very wholesome.
No, I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. That's, I mean, I remember watching him when I was a kid, because I was a late '90s baby, so I still had a little bit of that towards the beginning of my life. So I'm honored by that. That's it. That's something that I definitely think about, is I want to give people a delivery. I want to deliver them a tone, a personality that it is my true personality, but that's warm and inviting, that people can feel that they can come on my page and really enjoy it.
Yeah, and one of the things that you're talking about is vibrant masculinity. What does it mean, and what is kind of your mission in supporting this on your page and as you continue to post more content?
Vibrant masculinity, when you say the word vibrant, right, like when you look at it, is that really encouraging men to embrace things like being warm to people, down to earth, really expressing emotions in a healthy way, not just ones that are vulnerable. When we have our moments of vulnerability, we just saw Jason Kelsey retire from the NFL, and he had those beautiful moments of tears, talking about it, talking about football and how much he loved it and how he was going to miss it. But he also talked about how much he loved his wife and how much she meant to him on that journey, and his children, and that bond with his brother Travis Kelsey, and not just the more the negative, not the negative, but the moments of sadness, but
Yeah,
also those moments of positivity. He was so passionate about that, and you see Travis and Jason Kelsey, they're so passionate and into it, and they're really okay with just being authentic and doing some outlandish things sometimes that are really funny, but they're also so authentic. So that's what vibe masculinity means to me visually, is not only being vulnerable and emotionally mature in those tough moments, but also really embracing passion and being goofy and unique, and also really being warm to people and embracing being down to earth, and the Mr. Rogers type mantra, if you will, right?
sure.
That it's okay to be all those things on the spectrum, as well as embracing things like athletics and working out and being a leader. All those things are fantastic. But I also think that men can really, lean into themselves and be authentic and have some goofy moments, but also be really true to themselves and be emotionally mature and express things like vulnerability and sensitivity and compassion as well. So mine, if I had to do it in one sentence, it would be you can do it all. You can do it all. And you can be every part of your personality as a man and not have to restrict anything because you feel, oh, that's not masculine enough, or
Sure.
that's not what a man's supposed to do. No, you can embrace every part of your personality, no matter what the world labels it as.
No, I love that. And I think that is so important for the next generation of men that are coming through. And I think we've started to make really good strides towards that. I mean, I look at my dad, who like was not I mean, he in very much ways he was the traditional father in many ways, but like he also like did all the laundry, and I'm looking at like myself, my brothers, and also my brothers-in-law. We all do
Mhm.
the grocery shopping and the cooking. That was not happening like 30 years ago, and that's something
Yeah,
that, I mean, I love cooking. I wouldn't be
right,
like, oh, you cook your wife dinner. I'm sure that's probably like maybe an old man mantra back in the day, that it was
right.
like when you get home from work, your wife should. It's like, no, I love doing this, so of course I'm going to
Well,
embrace it. And I see you doing that as well, man. You make up a mean salmon.
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. No, it's funny. The cooking is definitely a work in progress across the board, but I do feel my salmon is getting there and improving day by day.
Tony P,
You're
let
totally
me
right.
give you some life advice. One thing that changed my
Ooh,
salmon was the air
let's
fryer.
do it.
Do you have the air fryer? You got to get
Ooh,
one. It
I
is the
have to get it.
best salmon, I'll tell you what.
You know what? That's a great idea because it's a thing that I thought about and I need to just invest in it. I mean, it's funny with everything going on with the 9 to 5 and then having the this job as well on the side. People think, oh, it's just you can just go do all this stuff and now you're making a little bit extra money and you can spend all this money, but a lot of it's just saved right now. I have no time. I literally have no time to go to the mall and shop or even go on Amazon. Like that's how crazy life is. So it's
Yeah.
like it's great for my budgeting. Anybody who's in the financial budgeting space be very happy with me as a client because I don't spend a lot besides food.
Yeah.
That's really all I spend money on, and
Food
maybe
and
Ubers
golf.
now
You're
and again.
golfing quite a bit, man, from what I see, But
True,
my question
true.
is, from someone that like does a lot of, my job is to be on camera, and I edit,
Right,
I do a lot of my own shooting. I just know that the
right.
from the day to day doing production, just even my job, is a pain. How much of a pain is it to do like of your day to day life? I feel like that'd be draining to me.
Oh, it is draining.
Yeah.
It totally it's not easy, and a lot of part-time creators like me, say the same thing. It's a lot of work. You're always going. You got to create content every day, and it can be very very difficult, to do it all. And the editing, the back. The back office work is the hardest because you have to make your narration make sense with the clips and I have different transitions. And as I've gotten, more involved in this, I become more of a perfectionist. I want the video to look good. I want people to really enjoy the transitions and really enjoy the aesthetics while also the content itself. So it's definitely a difficult balance, to say the least. And again, I put all my focus on the 9 to 5. And then the rest of it is on the content. So it's kind of tough at night when you're a little bit tired to get up and edit or to get up and narrate.
Yeah.
But for me, the passion is there. And for me, as someone that has always loved being on camera, that really loves using their voice and talking, and someone who was in broadcasting in high school, college, and a little bit outside of college. My first year when I was living in Boston, I did some side work in broadcasting. Right, I love it. I live for it. It's a passion of mine. So the passion overcomes being tired a lot of the times, and
This is
it can be
the
very, very
second
tough.
time you've brought up being a broadcaster. I'm worried that you're going to come take my job. But
Oh
you
God,
know,
no.
dude, like, what was your dream job? You know, like you went to Syracuse, like the
Ooh.
number one
Oh,
broadcast journalism school in the country. I mean, what was your ultimate dream going to Syracuse?
actually, just to correct. I got into Syracuse and I turned it down. Sorry
Oh,
about that.
okay, yes, okay. I'm sorry.
No, no, sorry, that was my bad. No, so I went to University of Richmond in
Okay,
Virginia, a fantastic school, and they gave me some opportunities to do broadcasting on campus, public address announcing, and some work with the ESPN Richmond Plus. So that was pretty cool. But overall, no. So I ended up applying to a couple of broadcasting schools, and again, Syracuse being one of them,
man,
and I
you
turned it down.
turned down Syracuse. Like, what a big league move.
Yeah, it was that was tough, and that, and I turned down a couple others as well. Looked at Emerson and some others, and decided not to go with it because at the same time it was for me, I had this passion. People told me you should go to Syracuse, you should go to Emerson, or wherever, whatever you wanted to go, and to try this because I had heard, Mike Tirico had gone there, and Ian Eagle had gone to Syracuse. I think I want to make sure I'm correct on that, and they had gone to schools like that, and that was the dream. People like Jim Nance I had watched for years, and I remember when I was a kid, I would turn the volume down on the TV at my dad's house and broadcast the games, and my dad,
Yeah.
I feel so bad for me. You had to listen to me, yelling basically, and talking the whole entire game in the other room. But I would do that, and also I would broadcast Madden games. I would literally just turn it down, put it on the simulator, and just try to broadcast. So that was the passion from day one, and I turned it down because it was one of my moments where I wasn't authentic. And this is why I
Mm,
talk about authenticity with men a lot, because I looked at it and said, real men go into like business and wear a suit every day to a big office, and do things like finance, like those things
sure.
are the high flying Gordon Gecko type. I saw those images, and that was what I thought I should be doing. And I was also afraid, to be honest, of the journey. Like, would I not make it? What would happen if I, didn't make it in 3 years? And I was not in a big market, and I wasn't making a lot of money. What would happen to me? Right? I wanted that safety.
Yeah.
And in reality, again, as Frank Sinatra says, regrets I've had a few, and that's the one that I have, is that I
Yeah.
didn't pursue this because this is the passion of mine. I've always loved presenting, being on TV, and being in front of the camera is where I feel really not just at home, but I feel like I can really use my talents in the biggest way. So that's something that I'm on the move with because of how this content has really grown and how I present my content in very much a face-on way.
Sure. And I had very similar feelings getting into this. I didn't get into
Right.
TV until I was a senior in college and kind of
And
tripped
apologies for the
into it.
noise.
I'm sorry.
And apologies for the fire trucks. I live right in downtown.
Oh,
It's
you're
tough
good.
to
You're just on
get away from
fire,
that.
Tony P. They're
Thank
coming
you.
for you,
Thank you.
man. They gotta put you
Thank
out,
you.
buddy boy. But yeah, I had very similar feelings. I mean, this is a very vulnerable job, and it's not a guaranteed thing. It's not like finance, as you're talking about, accounting, of where it's either you can do math or you can't. With TV, there's so many different variables of being able to speak, say the right things, and I struggle with it all the time. And a lot of it is just having that blind confidence and just going for it. And kind of at the end of the day was I looked at myself in my next 5 years and next 10 years, and I was like, if I don't do this right now, I think I'm going to regret it. And unfortunately, you're potentially feeling that, but also, it's different than when I was graduating in 2015. Social media influencers weren't really a big thing. So the good news is that you're able to do this now in a different platform, but generally the same thing, but also to be kind of your own boss in a way. Did that kind of regret really push you into now what you're doing and wanted to continue to grow this?
Yes, because and again, I never expected this thing to grow to where it was.
Yeah.
I didn't look going. I wanted to be an influencer. Rather, I looked at it as just I wanted to be creative again.
Hmm.
I wanted to get in front of the camera and just see if I could still talk in front of a camera and actually enjoy it, and just experiment with things like narration and front on talking, things like that. And it definitely motivated me because I've always loved it. I've always loved, being on camera and talking. So, my thinking was, would that spark come back? And to be quite frank, it did.
Yeah.
And as this thing started to grow, and I've been on a couple of local shows here on DC, done some interviews on camera, and I'm actually working on becoming a guest co-host for an episode of a local show here in DC,
Let's go.
and trying to do that where now I'm seeing, hey, maybe this is not only the chance where I continue to do this on my page, but this could be the pivot for me to really start to pursue this again and really try to go into broadcasting or hosting. I mean, not only is Jim Nance a hero of mine, but Regis Philbin is a hero of mine.
Yeah.
And rest in peace to Regis. And I'm reading his biography right now. And I just have always loved that. And what all those folks did across the board, whether it be people like Regis or Jim Nance or Terry Crews for on an AGT. He's also an inspiration of mine. And you look at that, and that's just something that I really want to pursue. I was watching I don't know if you've heard of Club Shay Shay. It's Shannon Sharp's podcast,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and he had Terry Crews on there talking about his journey. He was in football, but he always wanted to do acting and entertaining, and he just took that chance one day, moved to LA with no money, and went out and pursued it, and took some free acting jobs, and then is now a huge star, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I've been really inspired by, and for me, like it's time maybe to take a chance at some point. And being 25, I'm still young, and that regret is motivating me because I want to be someday in front of the camera again, and not just doing my content, but also bringing hopefully some joy to living rooms across the country.
Sure. And what does that look like for you? Your ultimate goal of wanting to, take a chance, pursue this, and go for it. What I
Yeah.
mean, what's the ultimate goal right now?
The ultimate goal, I mean, again, I've read Regis Philbin, and that's just the dream. I remember watching with my grandmother for years. It was Regis and Kathy Lee,
Yeah.
and then it was Regis and Kelly. And like doing something like that, hosting a show, or like a Ryan Seacrest, Carson Daly, Terry Crews, and Drew Barrymore, like those type of folks are very much my inspiration. And in terms of that, hosting a show and being a presenter is definitely something that I've always wanted to do and is a huge, huge passion of mine, whether it be as an anchor or it be as somebody who's hosting more of a daytime show or things like that. That's the dream, but for me, I'm hungry to get anywhere. Wherever I can get a spot, wherever I can get a shot, I'm ready, no matter what it is, whether it be sports or play by play, or being on a talk show, or just hosting, anything. Just give me a shot is my mantra right now. But the dream is more of that Carson Daly, of that Ryan Seacrest, Terry Crews type of thing, where I'm co-hosting something.
Yeah, you're off to a great start right now, I would say. You know,
Thank you.
we see you, going to work. What exactly is your job? What's your day job? I know you do consulting.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do strategic consulting for some pretty large firms, companies that are that are on the Fortune 500,
Yeah.
Fortune 10, and we do a lot of strategy and growth. Sorry, mostly growth strategy consulting. And folks will go, "What does that even mean?" Well, in a nutshell, we help a lot of companies who are looking to expand to a new market, for example, or revive a slow product. Right? We help them with some new marketing strategies, new customers to go after through things like market research and analysis, surveys, primary interviews with experts, and some also just secondary analysis from different reports, and some internal Excel spreadsheets that we make to understand the market size. And we just help some pretty large companies discover new markets to enter, new products to make. Some of our projects will actually include, proposing hypothetical features in a
Yeah.
hypothetical product or a hypothetical drink that would make sense for a given market. So it's really, really cool work. And it's true white space and portfolio expansion.
Absolutely. And, I guess before I get to my next question, what do your coworkers think about your newfound online fame?
They absolutely love it, and
Yeah.
they've actually been part of my videos a lot, and I'm so grateful for that. I ask them every time to make sure they're okay with it, but they're just so gracious, and really have been by my side throughout all this. Again, whether just through support or just being in the videos and helping me make these things. So I'm so honored by that, and my company has been the absolute best in supporting me. I've been helping out with some marketing initiatives as well, and recruiting things for our company as well. So they've really not only embraced me, but also have provided me with avenues to use my talent to help the company as well.
Love it. I mean, also, I mean, you can't have a Tony P video without like the legendary arm fold, some of the arm swinging, things like that.
Yep,
The sunglasses, the dance moves. Oh, there we go, baby. Absolutely. That's
it's
what we're
coming.
talking about.
No, it's coming. It's funny. I have this joke that I am competing with President Biden for a Ray-Ban sponsorship, and I'm going to
Yeah,
get that sponsorship.
I love.
It's just-
Dude, when did you start doing that? Like, where'd you get the idea to do it? Or just have you always been just like that big a vibes guy?
Well, it's funny. So it's funny. Again, not getting political here, but people used to call me Uncle Joe in college because I kind of had that. I kind of had that, that Biden vibe, and the very, the aviators. I just, I remember there was a video of him and President Obama, running down the corridor of the White House, and I kind of run that same way with my hands like this, and again, I like older music, and I'm very much an older soul, so they used to call me Uncle Joe. So that's kind of where that came from, and I started wearing the aviators just kind of out of the blue, like in 2014, 2015. And then I'm like, oh, former the vice president at the time, he wears them too. It's pretty cool,
Yeah.
So, and that's where the Uncle Joe vibe came from. So it's kind of more of, not a political statement at all, but it's just more of just kind of a vibe. So I kind of always had that, Mr. Rogers, Biden type of vibe where I just, I kind of just put the glasses on and I go, hey man, what's going on? How we doing? Let's have a good day.
I love that. And it's obviously become part of your personal brand, part of your online brand. What is your message to people your age and maybe even older about how important it is to build your personal brand and how that helps your professional brand?
Ooh, it's a great question. And in terms of building your brand, the first thing I would say is to always be authentic
Yeah.
and really, don't lie, don't hide something because eventually it all catches up to you, first of all. And if you get caught in one lie or one contradictory situation, it can ruin your reputation in 10 minutes. As Warren Buffett would say, it takes you, years and years to build a reputation. It could take you 5 minutes to destroy it, right?
Yeah.
So all those things are so important when building a brand that's authentic, that you can have for years and years, because you're not trying to always be a chameleon and blend in. I mean, for years I was a people pleaser, and I still have a touch of that, and I used to kind of bend my personality to what people wanted from me, and how could I make everybody happy and not anybody hate me, right? Well, what I realized, that type of brand is so thin and people see right through it. And where when you're authentic and you embrace your some of your quirky sides, as well as the things that really make you who you are, and those things that are your talents, and you lean into those, and you do things that are unique and maybe go outside your comfort zone, that's a great brand to have. And also, whenever having a personal brand, always have passion behind it, passion and dedication, because people just really get captivated by those that really enjoy what they do and bring passion to the workday or to a project or just to any situation. If you don't have passion behind your brand, it will never resonate. That's just
Yeah.
so important, is it passion, delivery. And the final piece, I would always say, just really being gentle, warm, and down to earth with people, and how you approach, how you interact with folks, and on it, whether it be day-to-day basis at work or with your friends, or just meeting someone new, or go to a restaurant, you're interacting with the wait staff, right? Always being gentle, down to earth, warm. That's just what I would say, to always have as part of your personal brand, that down to earth part of you that is warm, that's inviting, because the more people that you invite in, the closer the relationships that you can form. And that's actually, so I was looking at some studies the other day where people that always have kind of an inviting tone or delivery, they'll have longer term friendships because people feel comfortable around them.
Yeah.
And I always harken back to the Maya Angelou quote, for any brand or any, who you are as a person, always think about not just what you're doing for people, but how did you make them feel? And Dr. Angelo always said about, how you make people feel is so important. And I think that that's really important when you're authentic, that you can bring a little bit of joy to people. And I think that's a big part of personal branding.
Yeah, I love that. And I also love what you're talking about with passion, and people can see right through it if you're just doing whatever it is for the wrong reasons. But there's also
Right.
nothing more fun than watching someone who, no matter what it is, if they're like, I don't like chess, but if someone is like super passionate about talking about chess, I love it.
Yeah.
I did an interview recently with someone who is into bird watching. I could care less about bird
Really?
watching, but I could listen to her
Wow.
talk about bird watching all day. Where does that
Right, right.
passion for life come for you? Because I think that's ultimately what it is for you, of that you have a passion about life, and it's a passion that you want to share.
Exactly, exactly. And again, it's inviting people into your world, and giving people a little bit of a scoop, but also just showing them who you are as authentically, and even in vulnerable moments, because that's where people can really relate, and it can actually help other people on their journey. If they're feeling, if they're feeling some angst, or they're going through a moment where they have anxiety or depression, those things are so important to really just capture.
Love it. All right, before we go here, let's do the Mount Rushmore. I thought this was going to be on brand. Mount
This is
Rushmore
great.
of men's business casual attire companies. Okay?
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So what we're going to
So
do,
I am a bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're the
sorry.
guest. So you're going to start off, then I'll go, and we can't pick obviously the same ones. So I'm
You
sorry I
got it.
interrupted you.
No, you're good. No, I'm excited for this. I'm getting in the zone now. I got to make
get,
sure I have
get in the zone.
all
I
my
think you might need
thoughts
to do
right
a little
here.
arm cross. I think we'll be ready to roll.
Let's do it.
All right, Tony P, you're up.
All right. I would say definitely my first brand would be Calvin Klein. In a lot of ways, I love their jeans,
Yeah.
and the
I thought you
jeans
were
are
going to say you love their
perfect.
underwear.
Yeah. No, it's been pretty solid. It's good.
Yeah.
I definitely solid. But Calvin Klein has some wonderful jeans that are great for business casual days, whether it be a Friday in the office, or even for meetings with a nice jacket like this. It's a perfect little part of the outfit being those jeans. They're just nice and smooth, and again, the designs are very simple as well.
The faces of Calvin Klein underwear. Mark Wahlberg, Justin Bieber, Tony P in DC. Let's go, man.
Yeah,
Bring
good,
it.
good.
All right. I'm going to go. I'm glad you left my number one, Peter Millar. Love it.
Ooh, I love that. Those are so good for golf too.
They're the best.
All right. In
All right,
terms
you're
of
up.
golf, so I've used this brand a lot. Travis Matthew. I
Okay. Oh, yeah.
absolutely love. They're an up and coming brand. They have a lot of location in Boston. They are so great. They have great golf shirts that are perfect for any work days. I love the golf shirt with some nice slacks, and their golf pants actually give off that look of a slack type pant. So it's like perfect, where you can blend it all together. So Travis Matthew is so great.
I love where COVID kind of pushed us a little bit in terms of men's, like what's acceptable to wear in the office, because
Right.
you can wear a suit if you want to. If you're wearing like a full suit and tie, especially like on the on air, you have to kind of wear like a suit and tie, which like I understand.
Of
But
course.
that might be like a little overkill now in today's business world. Maybe not for you, Tony P, because you're a stud, but like also like just rocking like a men's golf quarter zip is like you're good to go with some
Yes.
slacks. It's become amazing.
Oh, it's the best. I mean, and you have the whole. I mean, like, I kind of, I'm the 45-year-old trapped in this body. I'm also the suburban dad trapped in this body, even though I have no kids. So having that, the quarter zip. I mean, the quarter zip. I mean, I remember seeing that, with some of the dads at the soccer game with the Dunkin' Donuts cup and the quarter zip. That's totally a suburban dad look. So that's the dream, man. Again, eventually to be having that, and to be at the little league game with the quarter zip in the fall.
Dude, your Boston just came out, man. I think
Oh
next time
yes, no,
next
it
it's
takes a little
there.
bit of time, but it came out.
The next time we have you on talking about suburban dads, I think we do the Mount Rushmore of minivans.
I love that. Oh my god,
All right,
that is fantastic.
I love it. So you had remind me, we got two more each, I believe, or maybe
Yep.
no.
Okay. Yep.
I'm on my second. I'm gonna go.
Got it.
I got J. Crew. I love J. Crew.
Ooh, like that. That's very. I like very solid.
It's one
Very
of my
very cool.
favorites. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. Oh, Michael Kors. Michael
Michael
Kors has
Kors.
some really cool. again, they have great dress shirts that are actually nice for a casual situation too. And so their dress shirts are great. They have again really some nice jeans, and just overall just a really solid brand. And they've always been a very big part of my repertoire.
At the very least, what you could utilize this podcast for, Tony P, is to chop this up and just send it to each of these brands and be like, hey, I'm talking about you. There's your next brand deal, pal. I just want 10%.
It's funny.
That's it.
That's funny. No, it's funny. Having brand deals is really really cool, and I'm honored by that. And it's definitely a cool part of the job.
I love it. All right, my third pick, the classic, Ralph Lauren.
Oh, that's a good one. I should have done that one.
Love
That's
it.
awesome. They're just really, really classy. Just again, just for years and years, they've been on top.
Absolutely. Your final pick.
Oh God, this is you took away Ralph Lauren. What's a really good one? Oh goodness. So we already did Calvin Klein. We did that one. Oh my goodness. Okay, business casual brand. This is interesting. Um, kind of overall, like I'm just trying to make sure I have it all in my head here.
Yeah, don't screw
Oh
this up.
boy. This is we did J. Crew. That was a good one. Um, oh, I'll tell you. This brand again is kind of a shock, but also I'm a huge fan of Nike because in a lot of ways they have the quarter zips that really are really solid, especially good for work from home days.
Yeah,
They're absolutely perfect. You put those quarter zips with a nice pair of jeans. That's just a good way to go, and they're very stylish looking too. I kind of like the whole sporty look.
yeah.
So when I'm looking for a little bit of energy during a work from home day, love Nike. And again, they can work too because they're golf shirts as well.
A
Their golf shirts are
fantastic
very, very
dark horse
nice.
candidate.
Yes, and they're great for again, they have great those pants are just excellent. And they also have the, those vibrant shirts with the kind of really cool designs that can really work for a work from home day as well as even in the office. Because again, it's a collared shirt.
Absolutely. This one might be a touch of a stretch, but it's my show and I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. Lululemon.
Yes. Oh my good. That was a good
Bam.
one. Yes.
Bam.
Yes.
The pants of Lululemon, they just look like they're normal Dockers. And then little do people know
Yes.
is that I am the most comfy person at the office today.
I love it. I
Unbelievable.
love that.
Tony, sorry, what was that?
Also Bird Dogs. They have some great pants as well that are
Absolutely.
similar.
Tony P, so you're going to be getting some more brand sponsors here pretty soon. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And you can just say compliments of Austin Love here at WKYC in Cleveland. I
Yes,
appreciate it, buddy.
you're the best. Thank
Absolutely.
you. No,
Dude, I will not take up any more of your time. Thank you so much for coming on, Tony. This has been a blast. I mean, I love your content. Love what
Thank
you're
you,
doing.
Austin.
Love your whole vibe. Like I said, you've been a father figure to me online. And even though you're 6
Thank
years
you.
younger than me, so I appreciate everything that you're doing, my man.
I am honored, Austin. Thank you for the opportunity to come on. This is a great podcast and to come on the platform and just have a really fun conversation. This is such a great way to start my day. Just thank you so much for the opportunity, man. It was an honor to be here.
Absolutely. If you want to just call me anytime, let me know. We can just start off the day together. Just giving a little chit chat.
That'd be awesome.
Talk about men's fashion, you know?
Right. No, and
Quarter
again,
zips.
you're absolutely killing it, in the world that I want to be in. Again, I'm inspired by you, man. You have some wonderful content. And you have a great presence and just a delivery, and I'm just really inspired, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Tony. And thank you
Thanks
so much.
so much.
And
Be well.
we'll talk soon, pal.
We will. Looking forward to it. Have a great Thursday.